Hello and welcome to the Moinescape podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by a very special guest coming off of his third place finish in the Fantasy Hockey World Championships. Matt, Matt, nolt0032 in the DK lobbies. So excited to talk about the weekend and then Tuesday's NHL Daily Fantasy Slate. Let's get into it.
You're saying they're looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.
Yes, that is right. No DJ for today's show. Absolutely nobody will miss him. Matt, how you doing? How is your month going?
I am good. I am doing pretty good. I mean, you're the one off the big win, so I point to you actually. How are you doing? You feeling good, right? Going in strong
Better.
into today and tomorrow.
Yes, we are doing much better than pretty much any podcast this year. So Sunday was the nuts of the nuts, finished first in the 5, 20, 40, 222. Pretty much any contest I entered, I finished in first, 17 of 17. I think that's a record for me. I know I've done that before on a Saturday or a Sunday slate. I remember it was the Sharks Washington game, like many, 4 or 5 years ago now. It was back when Logan Couture was still, healthy and playing, and it was like a 6-5 game that I just uber game stacked. That's the only time I can remember single bulleting a lineup that finished first and everything. So yeah, that was very nice. I heard from a lot of people, you said it yourself, checking in on me. It's been a tough year, so that was certainly nice to have things swing in my favor. But it was a Sunday slate. Nothing too exciting. I was in my basement. You are coming off of the Fantasy Hockey World Championship. Do you want to go through your experience there and, anything you want to complain about? Or
I will. Yes, I was going to save some of this. I threw some things out in the chat, but not a lot. So just for those unacquainted with it, it was in Fort Lauderdale this year. They run the annual contest. You get there's 40 entrants. Last year, 2 years ago, they had somehow let 4 entries in. No one made 4 entries. I was the only one that had a shot. And I didn't even try to qualify for the 4 because everyone read the T and C's like, why the hell are they allowing 4 entries this year? But this year, Fort Lauderdale, I was the only one with full three entries. So I'll explain once you get there, I can explain what my plan was with 3 entries. And then for those that don't know, you fly in Friday, DraftKings sends you to a game. The experience of that is somewhat questionable. And then Saturday itself is the event. They finally, after years of us telling them, stop doing this goddamn contest on Sundays because beat writers don't tell us anything. And they've listened the last couple of years finally. So let me break down Fort Lauderdale super quick because this was the worst hockey championship that I've participated in. Personally, in terms of DraftKings setup for the event. Fort Lauderdale was great as a location in itself, like great beaches, sure, sign you up. But then they put us 15 minutes off the beach in the middle of Fort Lauderdale instead of the nice areas on the beach. They put us in kind of a generic hotel. Usually we get these, you were kind of there. Oh, you're at Scottsdale and you've been to a couple, they put you in boutique, a nice hotel, or the Scottsdale was in a resort location. You didn't have to leave that place. That was great. And this one, you're kind of in the middle of downtown, this high-rise Miami, or it's kind of felt like mini Miami, and just it wasn't very nice. We'll put it that way. It wasn't very nice. And then they host you at the Florida Panthers Arena, which, if for those that don't know, I didn't know. I knew it wasn't in Miami or anything. It's way out there at the edge of the Everglades. So you literally just drive to a swamp, and it's this arena. I didn't look it up. I would guess the thing was built in 1995 or something. It was old. Wasn't very nice. And then they put us up, literally the thing that was closest to me was a dude walking on a catwalk. That's how high up we were. They're at this terrace. They usually put us in boxes or at least somewhat of decent seats, though. I know a couple of us at Colorado, I think Mike and stuff, they put us behind, they put us in nosebleeds in Colorado. That one maybe was worse, but this one they put us at highest possible spot. We were closer to catwalks and the ice. It wasn't really that nice. Just wasn't that nice of experience. And then the final itself was in I swear it was a converted strip club, but apparently it was a Michelin star steakhouse that was connected to the bar, but it wasn't even close to the venue. I don't know. I'm just off the rails here, but the experience was horrible. We'll put it that way. I don't know. Anything in there, anything interesting that you want to know more about, or I don't know. I feel like I got my rant.
Yeah. I mean, I was asking you for the itinerary, week before, like, hey, like I want to see what's going on here. Like I had an inkling that of course the Sabres were in town on the Friday. Like what are the odds, that, obviously I didn't qualify last year either from trying, but this year I didn't try. What are the odds that like the Sabres are actually good and there's a fantasy hockey world championship that DraftKings would pay you to go to a Sabres game? I'm just like, all right, come on. Like this is a little bit ridiculous now. And they did, and just the experience, like you said, wasn't great. But that is a little surprising, though maybe not so much so, because in my experience, it's been in joint with the NBA, which of course is like $1 million to first, and there's more high rollers there than there are for NHL. So my guess is the budget's much larger. So my assumption is that's why it kind of sucked. It definitely does suck though, because that is one of the final like kind of cool things that this industry offers that you can't replicate via the sports book, the fucking Kelshi, the underdog pick'ems, like all that shit. Like, yeah, it's not the same as the true pinnacle playing for the trophy. Like, it is what it is. It's only for a small subset of people, but it does suck to see that kind of being cheapened over time. Even for you, most of us, we've been stuck in, the Northeast or, Minnesota or Canada, even like, escape down to Florida for a weekend, maybe add a day or two, go to the beach. Like, okay, fine. You're coming from San Diego for this shit. Like, I mean, I can't imagine what some of your conversations were like, during the weekend, just being like, damn, like, you want to get out of here?
The one benefit was you get the warm water in Florida, so the beaches were like great. Like I can't knock the beaches because you get, I think in California it comes from like Alaska, whatever the water stream is, whatever the word is. I don't know the terms, but this one the water comes really clear, so the water was warmer, the beaches were nice, but that's all I got. Nothing else.
I hate the ocean, so I never go in.
This would have been miserable. You just sweat, and it's Florida. You just sit there sweating, like it's just humid. I don't know. Yeah. It just wasn't nice.
Yeah. So anyway, the weekend, whatever, the contest itself, I know you kind of had, a bad beat. I don't know how much
happened last year too. I mean, it's like at this point, it's just like, just wait for me to get knocked off. But like, well, here, I'm going to interrupt you and just keep going. I'll just take that and run because the DraftKings guys that run it, they're all over the place. The same fucking dude found me and it's like, oh yeah, there's Matt. He's ready. He's on top of the leaderboard. I'm like, buddy, there's a whole third period, and like you did this last year, and I lost at the last second when Austin Matthews got the the fifth goal and a pointless goal. At least this year was, I guess, it was an overtime goal. But I did become in second in one of these because of an overtime goal. So pendulum swings both ways, give and take, right? So kind of shitty end, but I was sitting there first and third and had a legit shot to make some good money. So it was still a good sweat. It sucked how it went down, but it was still, I walked away with 100,000. Like I can't whine about that. Let's be perfectly honest.
No, and I know the feeling exactly too, because in Nashville, the first time I went to one, it was I think 21 or 22 it would have been. I was basically the exact same thing. It was the 7:30 game was ending, and that was the last game, and it was Seattle, Montreal, and if they go to overtime, I can get past. If they just hit the empty net, it's game over. Whatever. Like I finished second for, it was 100 versus 50 at the time, and of course guy hits the post on the empty net. They go down, score in overtime. Tie the game, score in overtime. I get past for third, and it's like, yeah, you just won $50,000, and it's like I'll never have another opportunity to make 50 grand for not. So it's like one of those things that like no one feels sorry for you, and it's like you don't have to, but like I'm not just gonna be sitting here like thrilled. So
you're a human being, you're gonna be upset a little bit, right?
Yeah. So I'll cap it off with one more thing. There was a point in the night where you had three lineups, of course, and you mentioned you were first, third, and there was a point where the Sabres I think were up 5-0, and your Sabre stack was not the team in first or the team in third. And it was just like, my God, like what a read on the night from this guy. So it was good to see that you at least held, and that you didn't get completely submarined by the Dallas fade, because that was, your bold stance of the night. So anything more you want to say about the contest itself or anything, or do you want to get into
I'll give it the 1 minute recap, like what the hell I actually did. So I had 3 lineups. If I didn't have 3, I would never have played Kucherov. That was a lineup didn't do anything. You pointed out. But the only way I was going to do it, I had 3. So I'm like, I can match this, whatever, 35%, whatever it is. I can match it. I got 3, may as well flex the 3. But the only way that I was doing it was bringing back Buffalo, and Norris gets those 2 goals in like 2 minutes. I'm sitting, I'm like, well, shit, this is going to be, if Tampa Bay does anything, I got all these morons blocked already, like 5 minutes into the contest. And then sure enough, the game just got chippy and turned to garbage, which actually was for the best. Tampa not working was probably for the best. You had like 5-man stacks. You had people starting Darcy Kemper with them. Darcy Kemper did not start, just so you're aware. You had, like, again, there's always a free donation entry or 2, which I love this thing. I don't know what these people are doing. You had the 5-man stacks are somewhat defensible to 40-man, but also I think that's the spot where I don't know, the inflection point somewhere around there where they're not quite as strong as like the 20-man contest. Like, yes,
yeah,
sometimes, but
I did not look that closely at the lineups at the bottom. I did not realize that people were playing dead goalies there. That is fascinating.
Well, it's because Vasilevsky scored -12 or whatever, so they were all actually below the guy who scored 0 with Kemper. So it's like, thank you for playing the 8,400 goalie. Good, thank you guys. I'll end on one more thing. Just the lineup that came in third was the one I pegged as my favorite one. It was just Ottawa 2, Carolina 1. Pure thought was like, I'm going to get like Carolina 1. These guys play on 5-or-5 power play the whole game and might get sub 10%. I think they came exactly 10%. And then I was the only one, I believe, on a couple of the Ottawa dudes. I'm glancing at my other screen.
I think Cousins. Yeah, I think it was Cousins.
Cousins and Brady. Oh, they went 5. So one other guy clicked on them.
Okay.
Some drunk guy was cheering on every time Ottawa scored. Batherson scored twice, right? He kept cheering on Batherson. I'm like, dude, you have Cousins and Brady like me. What are you doing? He doesn't even know what he's cheering for. Whoever the other guy is, like, someone just give him help. Like, every time Batherson scored, I'm going, God damn it! Where are these guys? This guy's going, woo! I'm like, your guy, buddy. But anyway, happy with the lineup. And then Shabbat also going nuclear was kind of nice because I was the only one on him, and he skates with that line pretty much. That's why I played him. So, and then the 7th place lineup I don't want to bother talking about, but I just, from true, watcher of the DFS lobby, the fact that you got those 3 tickets with such ease was one of probably the most impressive feat of the season. So it was nice to see you turn that into some serious profit, because I know, like you said, you didn't try to qualify for the 4th time, and I think you went bang 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 within 2.5 weeks when you started playing in November. So kudos to you. Thanks for sharing with us, and let's get into Tuesday. Yeah, let's do it. I dilly-dallied long enough. All right.
So now, Matt, I hope you have your DJ's slate preview ready to go. So I will give you the floor for 10 minutes and go make a sandwich while you're gone. But we do have. Oh, let me fix the camera here. All this editing stuff. We have a lot of games. We have 11 to get through. So leading things off, we have Pittsburgh at Boston, Nashville at Columbus. Columbus on a back-to-back. We do not know the status of Zach Werenski. Talk about that when we get there. Vegas at Buffalo. Vegas with several question marks in their lineup. We'll get to there. Florida at New Jersey. Utah at Washington. Chicago at Winnipeg. Dallas at Calgary. Dallas on a back-to-back here. They'll be hitting the ice right about now. I think our lineup is confirmed for Monday, so we'll see what transpires with Tuesday's news and lineups and whatnot. Ottawa at Edmonton, Tampa at Minnesota, Colorado at Anaheim, Colorado on a back-to-back playing in LA at 10:30 on Monday night, and Montreal at San Jose to cap things off. So a loaded slate. Any of those spots or teams or game situations that out to you right off the bat?
I mean, we got haven't Colorado and Anaheim played some pretty fun ones. I mean, that one we got it. That's just going to be like ownership all over that one, right? Especially, you're coming off the big Cutter game. You probably that should be a good one.
That sounds right. I think Cutter had 10 shots and set a new career high, which is shocking that he hasn't had more, honestly, because I'm pretty sure, I guess he got that corrected down to 9. It still might have been a career high. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But I remember the first time we were introduced to him was, I think, the preseason where he had like 21 shot attempts in a game. And I think he had double digits, like his first NHL preseason game. So the fact that that's a career high, as we mentioned on the broadcast, still kind of floored me. But in any case, I agree. Ownership will be significant over there. Otherwise, as far as team totals, like Edmonton is a slight favorite in the 6.5, but like Montreal is about the same number. So I do think Colorado will have the highest team total here, because every other 6.5 is basically a coin flip per the markets, and Colorado is more of like a minus 160 type team. So I mean, that's obvious interest on the Colorado side, but the Anaheim side, if you think Colorado back to back, Anaheim's offense getting pretty concentrated, certainly could see some game stacks working there. So let's start with the first game, Pittsburgh at Boston. By the way, if you're listening to this on the podcast feed, there is a YouTube accompaniment that is over on DJ's YouTube channel and on my YouTube channel. At Fake Moods is my YouTube handle, and at NHL DJ is DJ's. So make sure you subscribe to us over there. Leading off of Pittsburgh, with their no Sid, they're going Avery Hayes, Ricard Raquel, Brian Rust, Chinikov, Novak, Malkin, Mantha, Kindle, Brazeau. Mantha is taking over the top power play. So Mantha, Carlson, Malkin, Rust, Raquel are all power play one there. Any thoughts on this Pittsburgh side?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Without Crosby, I've looked at nothing. So I'll just defer on this one. I haven't looked at Crosby less Pittsburgh since the break. So one thing I can confirm that's interesting is that this game is a 6.5. I'm not sure if that sticks and how long that lasts for, and I'm honestly sure how much that matters at this point in time. Like, it does just feel like every game is randomly either scoring 9 goals or 3 goals. And I don't know that the team totals have been super consistent across. Like, I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but it does feel like every game's pretty much the same at this point. And it's just like, does the team roll over and play dead, or does the goalie go crazy? So like the team total stuff is maybe a little overblown, because I just think play the best teams, which tend to have the highest team totals. Where the lineup gets interesting for me in Pittsburgh is Tommy Novak's kind of operating as a top center for them. With no Sid, he steps into a power play role he didn't have before. And that's been huge for him, because Malkin and Chinikov have been the offensive engines for this team for a few weeks now. And that full line has been, my favorite line to stack, certainly on this team, and maybe one of my favorites in the league over the past week. And they are 13.6K on this slate. So again, 6.5 total. You're getting a power play one guy in Malkin. You're getting 2 guys in Chinikov and Novak, sub 4K, who I really like. Chinikov, without a doubt, has been a fantasy superstar since he showed up in Pittsburgh. If he played 82 games the way he's playing, he would have 40 goals this season, since he got to Pittsburgh. So just insane stuff from him. And we know that he's got all the talent in the world. So that, to me, is the interesting spot. But Mantha, Kindle, Brazeau has been equally as good, especially when you look at some of the underlying numbers. And they are 10.7K. So I'm not really playing Hayes, Raquel, Rust, because why spend up for Raquel, Rust and play Avery Hayes when you can get guys cheaper that I like just as much. But yeah, I think a good spot to start on the Pittsburgh end of things. I think I'll throw one last thing. Tommy Novak's great at producing expected. It actually looks like he has little actuals in your sheet here. And if he's getting real ice time, which he is now, it looks like that second line. I think you're right on the point. That's the one I'd circle, and the rest, maybe like I said, the third line. But I don't know if you have to get that cute, sure. But I'm kind of with you there.
So long term, Tommy Novak produces fantasy points at 26% better than the league average forward. Think of Raquel and Rust. They're at 32% and 31%. We're not talking about a totally different player from them. And I think stylistically he works with Chinikov, Malkin. And just from watching them and being invested in Tommy Novak, I can say I very much enjoyed that line. So any preconceived notions you might have of Novak, I think, dig into some numbers, and you might come away a little bit more impressed by his profile than what I think has been hampered by lack of ice time in both Nashville and Pittsburgh. All right. On the Boston side, we got lines this morning. So Kuznetsov, Lindholm, Pasta, Middlestat, Zaka, Arvidsson, Isamont, Minton, Geeky, all pretty much status quo here. Some minor shuffling of Espiro alongside McAvoy and Zadorov down the lineup, but Pasternak's friends remain the same. The power play remains the same, and Victor Arvidsson remains right about 4K and putting up awesome numbers, especially as of late. So any interest in Boston here?
I was about to say, you literally just queued me up there. You gotta just Arvidsson's like meant to just put together fantasy points. The dude just gets the puck and shoots. Like, you gotta, at that price, you gotta be at least circling that. I don't think you need to go for the full stack there. If he fits a lineup, go for it. It's kind of where I'm at with Boston. I mean, Pasta's always in play. What can you say? Like, why waste time tuning that? You want to play him, just play him. So,
yeah, certainly Pasternak. If you want to play him, play him. No one said it better. Next game up, Nashville at Columbus. Stamkos, O'Reilly, Marchessault. By the way, this Nashville played at 2:00 Eastern on Monday, so we actually do have them on a back-to-back, technically speaking. But I didn't notice anything odd coming out of that one. So Stamkos, O'Reilly, and Marchessault, Evangelista, Howla, Forsberg, Bunting, McCarron, Smith, LaRue, Yost, and Matthew Wood. Defensively, Adam Wilsby is on IR, but whatever. Nick Blankenberg, okay. Roman Yosti, though, of course, is their defensive alpha. And Forsberg with Howla, Evangelista, so he's kind of on an island from a power play perspective. That means Stamkos, O'Reilly, Marchessault is 15K, perfectly correlated top line against a Columbus team that is more on a true back-to-back, not playing 30 hours apart. They're playing 24 hours apart here. So I don't know. I don't really see myself playing Nashville, Columbus in all honesty, but that 15K top line is somewhat interesting. Any thoughts there?
I was going to say, I dug into Nashville quite a bit because they're on the final slate, and now the lines aren't what was on the slate. The lines they had, wasn't it Evangelista?
Yep.
Wait, were these the same?
No, it was Evangelista and Marchessault flip-flopped. I think during that game they flip-flopped.
Okay. They keep flipping around. These lines, I mean, I've played Nashville all year. These lines kind of suck. I'm not that interested. The kind of suck is like you got the funnel on the top line, but really they're really not that great 5 versus 5. It's just, I don't know. It's, if you do it, it makes sense. Like, I can see it. You get the easy, obvious correlation, but so they're really not that strong. And I actually watched a couple of their games. Feels like they try to pass in the net sometimes. Like you got Stamkos, like try to have him rip. I don't know. I don't get it. So
yeah, I mean that's the Stamkos sort of like history where it's like, yeah, a guy who shoots as well as he does, it feels like he should shoot more, but he's never been an OV like volume generator, despite being probably equally as good, if not better, of like a pure placement type finisher. Him and O'Reilly have been very good together, but it is priced up. So 11.5K for a duo. The only reason it's in consideration is because Marchessault has been so productive. And it's like, can he sustain that with these two playing off each other in a way that he, in the same way that he could playing with Howla and Forsberg? If the answer to that question is yes, you've got a good stack there. But yeah, I'm a little skeptical. Justus Annunen should go in that because Saros played on Monday as well. So with that in mind, the Columbus side, they are currently blowing one of the more egregious leads of the season. They were up 4-0 against the Rangers, and every time I've looked up, it's been a different score, and now it's 4-4 with 2 minutes to play. So Columbus will be reeling coming into this one. Zach Werenski was out due to illness. Now, this game is in MSG that they're playing right now, and on Tuesday they're at home. So the illness, we have seen guys miss multiple games this season due to illness, but typically, it's not that bad for this long. So if he has what's going around, he's out. But if it's something, less than that, they just said, hey, you've had the Olympics, like you're a little, banged up, you're sick, like just stay home, be ready to go Tuesday. I kind of lean in that direction here, so I did not rearrange everything to account for his absence. Now, keeping in mind that they are actively blowing this game, Marchment, Fantilli, Marchenko, Jenner, Monahan, Heinen, Sillinger, Coyle, Olivier, all pretty much status quo of what they've done in past games. And of course, Werenski being out would mean Ivan Provorov and Denton Mateychuk step up in role. I think Provorov was with the top power play. He at least assisted the Marchenko power play goal. I did not look too deep into that, but Mateychuk would slide in on PP2 at the very least, if not power play 1. So that's really what you're looking for with Zach Werenski. But with no Werenski on an 11-game slate, I would be very hard-pressed to play Columbus here either. So anything you want to add there?
Yeah, if Werenski's out, this team really is not that good if he's not going to play. I mean, the top line, again, it's the same thing. You got the easy correlation, you're going to do it, but Marchment's actually priced fairly now. For a while when he was hovering low 3s, low 4s, high 3s, like that was totally fine. And now it's like it just doesn't move the needle for me. Only random thought is sorry whoever came up to me and said that they were that they grew up and played with Charlie Coyle growing up. That's the only thing I got. So shout out to that guy that I met at the finals.
Nice. Fellow, or not a fellow, but a Boston person.
And then I got his college wrong. I couldn't remember if he was BU or BC, and I said the wrong one. So, and I still don't remember.
I feel like DJ and I have had this exact thing, and we also got it wrong. So,
yeah, I'm just not going to say it. So,
anyway, let's move on to Jack Eichel returning to Buffalo, but this time a gold medalist. Do they boo him? Do they cheer him? Do they not care? I don't know. No one knows. Vegas is a very interesting team to watch on Tuesday because not only is Mark Stone game time decision due to injury, he got hurt in that Pittsburgh game, took a cross check to the ribs, looked like that unprotected area of his ribs. So I'm not sure if it's bruising, if it's broken, obviously that would influence things dramatically. But both Mitch Marner and Shea Theodore are game time decisions due to illness. So that would be obviously a major deal for their power play if one of Marner or Theodore were to miss, because, if Marner misses, it's probably Theodore stepping in there. If they both miss, it's either Hannafin or Anderson on the top power play. So I don't think any of those prices would be reflecting that for these Vegas defenders. If Marner were to miss, if Stone misses, Braden Bowman all of a sudden becomes power play 1 for 2,700. And I hate the dude's guts, but he's been fairly productive on the power play there for them. And, it's 2,700 correlated with Jack Eichel. So hard to really argue there, but we just got to keep our eyes out for further news. Anything in Vegas you wanted to flesh out further?
I feel like let's move on. Like you just as what you had there, have a flow chart ready with who's in and out once we see it, because I'm guessing we're not going to know it's game time. So just react, and that's probably an edge. Like be ready to change on that one. So
yep. Braden McNabb as also a punt has been awesome I think he's been back for 3 games now, and I think in each of them he's shooting, which is very odd for Braden McNabb. Don't know if that's real or not, but Shea Theodore has been so bad that he's not shooting, and it's is McNabb doing the shooting now? I think they went back to McNabb Theo, by the way. They separated them for the time being because it was McNabb, Korczak, and I think Lozon Theodore. But anyway, just something odd there going on because Shea Theodore's been non-existent for DFS over 10 games now, which is weird. I don't know. Not going to beat that dead horse though. On the Buffalo side, almost exactly what you would expect here. Zach Benson's back on the 4th line. He practiced we did not see a practice, I don't think, from them. Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't see power plays today. In any case, he's with the 4th line. Krebs, Tage, Tuck, Doan, Norris, Ostland, and Zucker, McLeod, Quinn. Dahlin, the alpha here, surrounded by 3 capable punt defensemen, Samuelson, Byram, and Power. All 3, I think, are in play for what the minutes they're getting. Michael Kesselring put 9 minutes in that game. I think, like you mentioned, it devolved into a donkey fest penalty minutes, and so he probably got thrown a 10-minute or something in there. But Metsa has been playing 6 minutes a night regardless. So we're truly seeing concentrated minutes on these guys, and like Bo Byram for 3K, it just feels a little underpriced. So anything in Buffalo interests you?
You hit on the head. I was gonna say, just play. You could play any of those top 2D pairs and be fine. Like they're getting all the minutes. So you covered it there. I mean, Darlene's price even's down for some reason. I don't know why it's down. Like he's been producing like since before the break. He started going on a tear. And it seems like it carried through. The top line, I personally like. If you're gonna play Taj and if you're gonna suck it up and play Tuck too, just like at some point you can consider Krebs because then he empty net. He kind of like. When they go, sometimes he gets the tag on with that price. He can get there. Everyone always cheats him in higher stakes, which I get. He's just a dude on the ice, and it's not super interesting. But he's one of those interesting ones. Like you'll see me play him just because he has those chances for those garbage points. And who doesn't love those garbagey empty net shots or a PK chance or whatever the hell he does out there? So I don't know. That line's always actually has pretty good underlines to it generally. So if you're gonna do it. It's an interesting one. Just stick them all together. Usually is how I stick to it.
Yeah, and Josh Doan's price in the entire Buffalo team, like you're saying, seems a little cheap, but Doan 35 really does stand out. He's been productive all year long, and recently has been on the top power play once again. So Doan Norris right back to the MN Matwell. I think there was one other guy. Whatever. We can move on to Florida at New Jersey. By the way, for those scoring at home, Columbus manages 2 points out of that blown third period lead. So just your casual Columbus game where they still win, but they blow a 4-goal lead. Florida, Verhaeghe, Erod, Reinhart, Samoskevich, Bennett, Kachuk, Luosterainen, Lindell, Marchand. Defensively, I believe Uvis Balinskis remains out. He's been playing power play 1 for them. So in his absence, Aaron Ekblad will be power play 1. He's 3,400. Fairly interesting. Now they're coming off of an overtime loss. They win? They lose? I think did they tie? I don't remember what happened. Oh, no, that's right. Anders Lee scored with like a minute left, of course. So regulation loss for Florida, though their power play scored. So I think Ekblad stays up there. What that really does, though, is it means they don't have a second defenseman for the power play 2. Mackie Samoskevich season anyone? 2,900 playing power play 2 with Bennett and Kachuk. That is the main thing I'm looking for here. Any interest in Florida against the rudderless New Jersey Devils?
Every time I see Aaron Ekblad, I can just think of Brooks Koepka with the pylon, because I mean he is a pylon at this point in his career. But if he is going to be on the top power play, the dude will shoot. So I know your expected actuals don't look great on the spreadsheet here, but we all know he shoots. Florida doesn't interest me at all. This team's a mess. Marchand's clearly hurt, right? Mackey's price, I always fall for Mackey, and he goes for the 5 shots and does nothing else. So that's about all I got.
All right, yeah. Certainly been a disappointing season for Samoskevich. You dig in a little bit under the hood, and it doesn't look too bad on a per minute basis. It's been slightly better, I guess, than like last year. I think last year was his debut season. But relative to the league and whatnot, he's been fine. And the underlyings are there recently, 8.7 expected fantasy points per game last 10. Only 5.5 actual. So that's been the problem for him as of late. This is the best role he's seen in quite some time, though. So especially if Marchand starts to miss time as they fall further and further out of the playoff picture, we could see a bit of a revival for Mackey. But yeah, not holding my breath. This matchup is certainly one of the worst of the night, if not the worst. I believe, it's a 5.5 total, which the Chicago-Winnipeg game, Dallas-Calgary are the only 2 other games that are 5.5s. And straight pick them down the middle. 2.8 team total for everyone. New Jersey keeping the same lines from their win in St. Louis. Timo, Hischier, Mercer, Gritsuk, Hughes, Brown, Jesper Bratt, Cody Glass, Lenny Haminaho, Kader Bukestad, Siplikov, Dougie, 5,100 top power play with Nico Hischier, and then the second line of Gritsuk, Hughes, and Connor Brown. I don't know your stance on Arseny Gritsuk. Have you been converted to the cult of Gritsuk, or is he just a guy you have paid no attention to?
I have not converted to the Colt yet. New Jersey's like, I've played New Jersey at a decent chunk this year. It does not matter what line combination it comes, well, except Timo, who's the master of, I love looking at expected fantasy points. Master of expected fantasy points, it produces nothing, or just, looks amazing, just nothing there. I'm not a Colt member, unfortunately.
All right.
I just don't know how to play this team. I'll be perfectly honest. If someone else has a beat on it, like, send me a message, because I sure don't know how to do it. So maybe Gritsuk is going to solve them. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the real question is, can he get a point on the goal that New Jersey scores? Because they're certainly, they're long odds to score 2 goals in any given game. And so if, it's almost like I want Gritsuk to do well, but I also want Glass, Gritsuk, Heminaho to be the line that does well, because like I'm just so sold that Cody Glass is like a bona fide, like, good NHL player. Sort of in the mold of Ryan McLeod, where it's just like, I'm going to sit here going, play this guy more. Good things will happen. You know why you suck. And, he's like, so I'm just going to complain about that until the end of time. Splitting them doesn't do a ton for me, but Gritsuk did move up to the Hughes line last game and onto the top power play, like I mentioned. He's been a very productive fantasy player in somewhat limited minutes this season in New Jersey. He came over with a ton of pedigree from the KHL as just like a offense first type player over there. And that's continued. So for sub 3K playing with Jack Hughes, I'm curious if he gets owned, because any guy at 15-20% owned on an 11 game slate with such a precarious position as a New Jersey Devil is always a little bit reason for concern. But that's the only guy that I could even fathom clicking on here. Because this team can't score. I yell at DJ all the time about it, and maybe I will be walking into the trap myself on a Tuesday. Utah at Washington. Utah lost 4-0 to the Hawks on Sunday. Shout out to Arvid Soderblom. And I put in the lines they used at the end of the game. I would not be shocked if they went to any set of random trios of forwards for this game. Basically, it was a 4-0 loss, but you would have thought they lost, 27-0. Everyone was just pissed. They sucked. They're the worst team in the world. They can't believe that this happened to them. So I'm guessing we get some sort of, nuclear reset of the lineup. The way they finished, though, for those playing along in the podcast world, is quite interesting, because they went to the tried and true Keller, Schmaltz, Gunther line, which is, obviously top power play correlated. It's their 3 best fantasy players. And it is a 19K top line. Down the lineup, then, that leaves Peterka, Cooley, Yamamoto, Krause, McBain, Carconi, and Kerfoot, Stenlund, Hayton. They kept Hayton on the power play one, but they gave up a shorty. So the most obvious thing I could see is them just putting Cooley back on the power play one. So yeah, a lot of unknowns here. Heading into Washington, it's not my favorite matchup, but Washington has not been great on the year. So any Utah-Washington takes?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've picked on Washington quite a bit. And actually in the final I played, I landed on a Montreal lineup. Because Washington kind of can let those games slide. They have guys that'll just get into penalty fest. They're that type of team. Like they're chaos, which is great for for fantasy hockey, because like you just want the variance, and there's upside variance that exists. In terms of like what Utah's doing here, we'll see what the lines stick in the morning skate. If they go with that funnel on top line, I don't get why Nick Schmaltz keeps coming as the highest owned when literally you have better players playing with him. But every time, I guess it's the center position, right? I don't get what optimizer keeps shoving Nick Schmaltz. He's like double the ownership every slate of Keller or Gunther or whoever. So sure, if you're gonna go smash your head and go play some Schmaltz, go ahead. But I like at least include the players around if this line sticks. Like include Keller and Gunther. Like that's how he's gonna get there, or because the better players are playing with him. But that's about my only like heated take on Utah. Is I never get why Nick Schmaltz is just this weird ownership. He's always more than everyone else. Yeah.
I think you have found one of the only 5 other people on planet Earth who would have a hour-long conversation with you about this, because I've also noticed Schmaltz being ungodly owned for, little to no reason. Like I feel like he's had like a couple hat tricks this year and otherwise been like almost useless. Maybe that's underselling his performance a little bit, but like, yeah, I don't really get it either for on the Nick Schmaltz front.
I got one more thing. Dursey, Dursey's been popping up for me for like weeks before the break and after it, and I think you see it in your sheet here. Little is expected actuals are decent for price. Looks like his price catching up, but he's one I mentioned. You could play them if he's gluing at the top line. You could cheat Sergachev for him, honestly, and save some money. That's the only other thing I got that I like it. Decent to do.
Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. On the Washington side, we got practice today. We got power play units. The only uncertain aspect is if John Carlson's good to go. He was in a non-contact uniform, so I'm guessing he's 99% not playing here. That leaves us Jake Chychrun as the certified alpha of the D-Corps, 6,300. The only reason that I don't think we're jumping through tables to play Dahlin is because Chychrun's just a little bit more expensive. That at least is my personal take on it. I think Chychrun is maybe the best fantasy defenseman pound for pound in the league, and he's without John Carlson right now, which means the minutes monopolized for him in a great way in any close game. Ovi, Strome, Beauvillier, Protas, Dubois, Wilson, McMichael, Sordov, Leonard, Duhaime, Dowd, Frank, Leonard, Wilson, Ovi, Strome, Chychrun, power play 1. All this the same from the weekend, but got it confirmed on Monday as well. So, any Washington interest on your part?
I did. I would say another team that was on the championship, so I did quite a bit of dive into it. I was still kind of late. You're either like, if you're gonna play him, you're playing Chychrun or Ovechkin. I guess Dubois is gonna get clicked in a ton because of that price and what he's been doing. And I get it. I'm not a Dubois guy, but maybe. I mean, he actually has the actuals go with the expecteds for once, which if you remember for years he's always a great expected guy, no actuals. So I'm kind of expecting that to all come crashing down. Price is going to increase as his results come down. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. That's one I'd be sketchy on. But that's right. Like you start with Ovechkin, you start with Chychrun, and move on. Otherwise, move on is my kind of Washington vibe usually.
I hear you. Yeah, Protas, Dubois, Wilson, they look menacing on the ice. They're all huge. I think the broadcast is calling them the tower line, which is really kind of neat. And they are 14K. And, I don't have a ton of time for this Utah team, especially if they do nonsense with their lines. Like, I don't think they're a true competitor out in the Central or even the Western Conference, really. And some people are giving them that credit. But how many times am I going to let Washington, destroy me before I just give up on them? Because they're also not a very good team this year. And they're actually even further. Utah's in a playoff spot. Washington certainly is not. So moving on, Chicago at Winnipeg. Green, Bedard, Burakovsky, Teravainen, Nazar, Donato. A little interesting wrinkle there on the second line for Mr. Ryan Donato. Bertuzzi, Dickinson, Mikheyev, Oliver Moore, Nick Foligno, landed Slaggert. Connor Murphy got traded today to the Edmonton Oilers. So I think all 6 of Korchinski, Rinzel, if Rinzel's available, Vlasic, Crevier, Grzelcyk, and Levshunov will play. They're coming off of a 4-0 win where Levshunov quarterbacked the top power play and that power play unit scored. So I'm kind of going to be surprised if it's Sam Rinzel running the top power play here. Of course, this team invested high draft picks into both Rinzel and Levshunov, but Levshunov was the number 2 pick, and he's had, he had the most recent game on the power play 1. So I'm curious to see what projection systems do with Rinzel. If Levshunov is going under the radar or just straight up being not projected on a power play unit despite, lack of news, I think Levshunov is a pretty interesting punt play here. Otherwise, it's Chicago in another 5.5 game against Winnipeg. I don't think 7,400 Bedard is quite cheap enough, but it at least makes me think, given some of the alphas we have later in the 9K range.
I was to say, I got nothing on Chicago. If you're gonna have me talk about Chicago, I would just troll Frank Nazar and his 72% shooting percentage last year, but he's clearly come back down to earth. But that's all I got. I got nothing really of substance on them.
Yeah, I touched a nerve.
There's the Rinzel
with the chat here.
Sorry, I saw those chat comments. It's funny.
I mean, look, I have let me. Oh, I closed out of it for the show. I ran my underdog stuff and know like how much of each player I had and what percentage and whatnot without having to
Every
log into
pod is like
underdog.
30% Renzel, which is hilarious. He did like nothing all year. Now he's watch him just wreck the first round. I picked one share out of my team, so
Oh, don't worry. I was at 0% until we got to training camp, and he's just holding the power play one. I wound up with 15 of him, and I advanced 5 of them. So actually, I'm slightly overexposed to Sam Renzel.
A bunch of the pods. Yeah, a lot of people scooped him 16th round there or whatever it was.
Yeah. So,
anyways, before we get yelled at Jimmy, no too much underdog. I don't know if he even watches anymore, but hey Jimmy, if you do watch.
No, he's driven his van off the road out of rage. He doesn't watch live. He's too busy coaching.
Oh, that's fair.
All right. On the Winnipeg side, fully correlated top line, Connor Scheifele Velarde. It's a 21K line, but certainly we know it has upside. What's interesting is Cole Perfetti has really come on as of late. He's looking like their best fantasy player at the moment, nearly 13 expected fantasy points per game. Kyle Connor, for reference, is at 11, Scheifele 9, Velarde 8. So Perfetti's shooting, now he's scoring, he's picking up points. He's basically doing all the things he wasn't doing for the first 4 months of the season after, well, has it been 4 months? He missed some time to start the year and then came in and took a long time to get going, is what I'm trying to say. So Perfetti, quite interesting. Similarly interesting on defense, Mr. Logan Stanley, the one player I think we talked about before the show, with no Neil Pionk and no Josh Morrissey, who, despite practicing today, will not return until Saturday is their target. Logan Stanley's taking over power play one. He's playing 23, 24. He's gotten as high as 26, 27 minutes a night, and he's just 4,100 in one of the better matchups on the night. So I am planting my flag, going right back to the Perfetti Stanley well. But any thoughts from you on this Winnipeg team?
I really have played very little Winnipeg one this year. They've just been so over-owned because people are still looking at last year. Just not, but I can get behind like a Perfetti Stanley, which you just won with. I can get behind something like that. But the Winnipeg one and higher stakes, they just have such weird random ownership. Because I swear people are just still looking at last year, and it's just not the case this year. So I just never that interested.
I'm getting called out. I did not refer to Mark Scheifele properly as Fat Mark. That's right.
I bungled that one too. I forgot about Fat Mark.
What the people don't understand is that it's easy to be, it's easy to sit in the crowd and, throw tomatoes at us. But once you get the light shining on us, you get all the great numbers on the screen here. It's just, you're going a mile a minute. And so it's really hard to do what we do. And I just think that people need to really respect that better in the chat. All right, let's, I think we were done with Winnipeg. Do we care about Vladislav Namestnikov is out of the lineup. There, I said his name.
That makes him better.
Dallas at Calgary. They just locked. I think their lineup was as anticipated. So Robertson, Johnston, Bork, Sam Steele, Duchesne, Ben, Lindell, Heiskanen, Harley, Lundqvist, and a bunch of dudes. Bottom of the lineup for Dallas is no bueno. Do not go there under any circumstances. Maverick Bork at 4K is the main point of interest. This matchup with Calgary, we've seen it now multiple games in a row where the shot attempts are just off the charts. It's been a thing all year long with Calgary. They just juice the shot attempts in every game they play in. So there should be volume here from a Dallas perspective, which is not something we can often say about the Dallas Stars. So I really like trying to get a piece of this top line. J-Rob's going to be tough to fit in. He's 7,900. We're going to talk about basically the four-headed monster later on, maybe 3-headed, depending on your thoughts on Kucherov. There's going to be guys you want to spend up on coming up. So 7,900 J-Rob on a back-to-back, maybe a tough sell. Maverick Bork, though, 4K. He's got a ton of prospect pedigree. He was great in the lower leagues, and this is really his first chance at getting true top-line minutes. yes, he's been playing with J-Rob and Hintz for long stretches, but that's been, 14, 15 minutes. They rotate some guys in. They don't have another top line right now, though. So Bork is still of interest to me at 4K. Now, I bet you did a deep dive on Maverick Bork for the Fantasy Hockey World Championship. Any thoughts on Mr. Maverick here?
Oh, I love Maverick Bork. I believe he won me a GPP earlier this year because he's one of the pieces that not power play one, and actually with this price, people are just like, you're not going to see anyone click him in. But if you're going to play the line, I would just argue just throw him on there. I would why not? He's actually, his price is getting better finally. He always showed up as pretty cheap for me. The one knock on Dallas, the reason I do in the final, mostly because I could not handle 35% like Jamie Benn. Like, come on, the dude's like a corpse out there. But like the top line without Hintz and Robo is better than Wyatt and Robo, and then no Rantanen's also just kind of a general negative effect on the team. But like that's why I didn't do it in the final. Wyatt and Robo, for whatever reason, maybe I think they're a little smaller samples, haven't been as good. But are they home? Are they? I think if they're home,
in Calgary.
Oh, in Calgary. Oh, that's right. Duh.
They're doing the West Coast.
That's right, that doesn't matter. Calgary's the worst team in the league. It probably doesn't matter then. Then throw out those thoughts anyway. So yeah, I think you go there. Please stop clicking in the 3,700 Jamie Benn because he's on the top power play. Just please, or actually no.
Please do. Yes, please do.
Everyone keep doing it. I take it back. Just keep hammering him. He's gonna score this time, guys. You got it.
Yeah. So the other final thing I will say is that this is one of the rare situations where it is a 23-hour back-to-back. So, if you're talking back-to-backs and the travel and the body clock and whatever else, like there are going back a time zone from Vancouver to Calgary for this one. So even more of like a, small scale detriment to their overall outlook here. So again, I don't know that it matters. This Calgary team thinks out loud, and like the shot attempts and everything are just going to be so high that like these concentrated minutes are going to bear out, I think. But maybe reduce it to like a Harley Bork or something like that, and maybe don't go all the way in on Dallas stuff. I really like Thomas Harley, by the way. Hand up, he's back. Like he's just so back to the Thomas Harley that we know and love, and for that, I am grateful. Calgary, Zari, Kadri, Farabee, Coleman, Backlund, Coronado, Sharon Govich, Frost, Greedon. This is a slight tweak from their last game, so not positive if this remains the same, but in any case, Sharon Govich and Coleman were the guys who flipped, and this lineup looks more correct because Backlund and Coleman just tend to play together historically. The only guy here that I would even consider is Matt Greedon, and that's just pure slappy moods speaking. The kid's 20, and he killed the AHL, and now he's up in the NHL, and they put him on the top power play with no Jonathan Huberdeau. Sign me up. That sounds good to me. But otherwise, yeah, we're not playing the Calgary Flames here, regardless of back-to-back and whatever else. Any dispute from you?
I looked into this team. This team just sucks. They suck out loud. They're just bad. I think you got it right. Don't need to add anything to it. You either one off it or move on. Just don't play this team.
In your head, what is the money line for this game?
Oh God. Oh, what are we gonna get? I mean, Dallas on the road on a 23-hour back-to-back. They're still gonna be. I don't know. Like these, I don't even know. What is it? I don't know. I can't guess.
They are minus 120 right now on DraftKings.
What? No, I would have gone like 200. That's what I was thinking. That's why I didn't want to say it. Like, am I going too high? Clearly.
I just threw some of the money I won on that because you got to turn that money into zero when Nazem Kadri scores a hat trick. Yeah, just I get it, but no, you're wrong, DK. Completely and utterly wrong. All right, here we go. 4 games that are maybe a bit more interesting, back to back to back. Ottawa at Edmonton. Why is an Ottawa game interesting? Well, because Edmonton sucks defensively. There you have it. Batherson, Stützle, Giroux, Tkachuk, Cousins, Greg, Cousins, Pinto, Amadio, Zetterlund, Eller, Halliday. We saw a practice today. Everything remains status quo. Tell me some of your thought process behind the Tkachuk, Cousins, Greg
I mean, that was my
Greg.
baby going in the finals. They had one of the best. If you go look at their like 5v5 expected goal for, they're one of the ones. They were like one of the 60% lines. Like it's a nutty number, but it's Brady cheats that a little bit, right? When he just like donkey slamming pucks into the goalie's pads. I get it, but like, I legit think Cousins is really good for him, and his price. Why is his price 4,600? Like, I don't get what's going on with the Cousins price, but it's too cheap. It's just too cheap. They stick out like a sore thumb any way you put it. I would recommend what I did in the finals. Glue, if you're going to glue a defender to it, I would kind of lean into Shabbat because he plays with them at 5v5 quite a bit. I mean, maybe check your home road splits on that thought, but I could be backwards on it. But he plays with it too, and he's not like talented, but he accumulates fantasy points. And I mean, on the final, he scored he got a goal and assist and shot and block. Like that's what he does. He just kind of accumulates random stats. So
yes,
that's my line, and I would go back. Like I would go back to it. They're too cheap for what they can do.
I love that for you. I was shocked to see that Drake Batherson was one of my highest advancing players.
He was on 9 too. Yeah,
I think there's something there with the way the board fell, where it's like if you grab McDavid, he was just sitting there for you at that turn. I think that's what's going on because he wasn't great, but he's also been better than you would expect, like stats wise on the year. I mean, we talked about this in like December, but he's like I'm just looking now. Yeah, he's nearly a point a game player. Like he's on pace for like 72 points if he had played the full year. And I think he missed the first few weeks of the year. So like, 4,700 feels fair. I would replace Greg on a stack with that if you're trying to play like a 4-man Ottawa stack the way you outlined it. Kachuk, Cousins, Batherson, and then just leave off Tim Stützle or whatever. That sounds fine to me.
Yeah, I think that's all reasonable. I was gonna say Batherson. I mean, Batherson is a good one too. I was all over him coming into the year, but that injury, maybe he's coming back. Like I was with you. He was one of the guys I circled. Mm-hmm. So I ended out with a bunch of him, and you're right. He was with the McDavid turn. That's why.
9 shots in 2 games after the break. If he was hurt, you could make the argument that he, these expecteds and whatnot are underselling it because of the way the schedule fell and all that. So maybe a late stage Batherson revival is inbound. Now, Edmonton, we don't know what they're going to do with Connor Murphy because they practiced today and only had 11 forwards. They had to like waive Mangiapane and send down Howard or something to make the cap work. So I think they're going 11-7, but that's assuming Connor Murphy can play. And if not, they'll probably go 11-6 is my guess, which of course means that there's more minutes for Connor McDavid available in that instance. That also means, Draisaitl, Hyman, RNH, like whatever idiots you want to play with McDavid, go for it. He's going to play with all of them. I noticed that Draisaitl skated between Podkolzin and Kapanen instead of Savoy and Roslovic because they moved Roslo to the third line center position. So kind of sucks. Matt Savoy was starting to show stuff and, that's now gone for Draisaitl. But ultimately, this comes down to McDavid to Draisaitl anyway. So I prefer the Ottawa side here, but I could totally see an argument for Edmonton, especially if Connor Murphy doesn't play and there's a bit less of a chance that this becomes like actually Connor Murphy fixed the defense type situation. But anything from you on Edmonton?
I was gonna say to keep time moving, nothing interesting.
Great. We should do this more often. Tampa at Minnesota. Tampa switched things around without Gage Gonsalves and Dominic James. So Hagel, Cirelli, Kucherov skated together in practice. Gensel, Point, Bjorkstrand, Holmberg, Gord, Gergensons, and then Douglas, Sabarin, and nobody. They're going 11-7 with Charles Edward Desto playing as the 7th D-man, Mosier, Radish, McDonough, Chernak, Lilleberg, Hedman. Can't really play a defenseman in a 7 defenseman situation unless they're on the power play one, which is Darren Radish. He's very expensive though. Did Minnesota and Bill Guerin fix their PK? Maybe Bill Guerin finally found the secret sauce. I don't know. But they've been good. Tampa just got shellacked by Buffalo. So either Minnesota wins here 5-0 or Tampa wins like 5-2. I think those are the only 2 outcomes here that I will accept. Any homerish takes on this Tampa Minnesota game?
I was say I'll try to not have any homer takes here. The top two lines are going to play a ton of minutes, so if you like him, just play him, just mix them up. Like Kucherov will escape everyone. I would like to complain about Braden Point, but I'll keep time coming because the dude, I think the dude is washed and is horrible. Because when you watch Kucherov, it's because Kucherov's so good that Braden Point looks good, but I don't know. That's my one Braden Point complaint because he's looked fine since he's come back. Maybe he's finally healthy is the problem, but it's because Kucherov's so good. So anyone Kucherov's playing with is in play. Let's be honest. He just puts a dime on your stick. You have to nudge it at the net and it's going in.
You just have to exist to score goals, which makes the Oliver Bjorkstrand situation all the stranger because my God, why does that dude not have 40 goals? Does he actually stink? But yeah, Bjorkstrand is 3,300, still on the top power play, and with these minutes, he's gonna have to play 14, 15, 16 minutes. If not more, and my guess is more, but we have to be conservative here and not guarantee things until, the guarantee goal segment or anything like that. So I think Bjorkstrand is fairly interesting. Obviously, he hasn't done a ton with it, but maybe slightly better as of late. 9 expected fantasy points over the last 10 is a slight step up for him. Minnesota, Kaprizov, Hartman, Zuccarello. I will note that Kaprizov is 8,500. If you consider him among the upper echelon of players in the league. McDavid is 87, Kucherov is 86, McKinnon is 98, and Macklin is 92. So a slight discount there at home for Kaprizov. Boldy, Eriksson Ek, Johansson, Trenin, Yurov, Tarasenko. Marcus Foligno went on IR. They claimed Robbie Fabry, so I'm guessing he plays on the fourth line with Sturman, Hinostroza. They're coming off of a loss to St. Louis where they looked fairly listless, so we could see some changes to the lineup, but I'm guessing the basic structure remains the same here. So any thoughts on these Minnesota guys, especially Boldy and Kaprizov, their respective prices?
I'll save the homerism, but you can, with that top line, the top pair Q's and Faber glues them, so you can just mishmash whatever you want. Is kind of, if you're going to play Kaprizov, because that price is pretty solid. Like you can mash around. I think someone noticed I was playing a Brock Faber, and he won me a GPP, I think, but just before the break, and because Brock Faber isn't, well, you can have your own thoughts about Brock Faber, but due to the presence of Quinn Hughes, Brock Faber can do Brock Faber things, which is he just screams down the middle of the ice and shoots random pucks and is retrieving pucks because Quinn Hughes exists and is so good. This is my getting a little homery here, but I got to give kudos to Bill Guerin. The getting Hughes was, I can't believe how good the dude is. That's all I got. I'll cut myself off there.
I can't imagine what trading for someone like Quinn Hughes would feel like. I mean, yeah, that is remarkable, and to have it happen to a Minnesota fan, I mean, geez, no one deserves it more, given the sorts of players. Well, I guess you have Van Edwards now, so there you go. You have Edwards and Quinn Hughes to watch, but man, it's been a while since you've had a true game breaker. Now you might have 3 in Quinn Hughes, Boldy, and Kaprizov. Yeah. Anyway, not to look too old. I'm sitting here thinking about Nino Niederreiter screaming down, going bar down to win a playoff series for,
I miss Nino. For
Minnesota.
Yeah, I love Nino.
Back in the heyday of the true Minnesota Wild, before they got all fancy and good at hockey. Colorado at Anaheim. This is going to be probably ownership central. It should be ownership central. If it is not, someone give the field a check because I don't really understand how. Not positive on Colorado lines. They've been in a bit of a rut lately. Don't look now, but they're squeaking by teams like Chicago. I think they're 9-9-1 in their last 19 games, and that's after starting the year, I think 31-5 or something ridiculous like that. Not great stuff out of Colorado at the moment. Landeskog, McKinnon, Nachos is what I'm guessing we see. Lehkonen, Nelson, Nichushkin. Who cares about the rest? Taves, Makar, Burns, Manson, Kulak, Malinsky. It's all a little grimy for me. Kind of feels like if you're not playing Nachos with McKinnon, given their respective pricing differences, you're missing the point. I'm just going to pull up a tweet that I made a few days ago because I just can't believe I'm actually in a world where Kel McCarr said this. Well, shit, now I can't find it. But he basically said something in the game where they didn't have Nate McKinnon. He was like, the power play has not felt this good like all year.
Oh, sorry.
And they
started this. Yes.
And they scored 2 power play goals in that game. And then Nate McKinnon returns and they go 0 for 4. The next game, they go 0 for 4. And so they've still yet to score power play goals since Kel McCarr commented that he may have fixed the power play. And I feel like he might have been right, but he doesn't know why he was right.
Do you want to just slam on this one? Like I know you want to so badly take a massive victory lap about that statement. I'll help you here. Also, was it Jack Hahn or whatever? I don't know. I follow some of those weird goobers on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah, they make weird tweets all the time. But I'm like, sometimes there's something relevant they tweet about. Yeah, that was a great. I was like, did Moods hack his account and make that tweet? The 9.5% of the time it works every time because he's like literally for where he's set up on the power play, he legitimately he's a great rhinoceros out there. He puck retrievals, getting the puck in, passing, but he should not be shooting the puck on the power play. And no one's ever going to admit it because he probably won't let a coach do it. But
no,
I wish someone would realize it. It's that McCarr. I didn't see your tweet, but whatever McCarr said, that's just hilarious. It's funny because it was better, probably.
It's incredible. Like it truly nothing better than I mean, just seeing everyone in the other thing about McKinnon that's actually super interesting. I think the Jack Hahn thing might have been about 3-on-3 play, actually. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm mixing up stuff.
No, he was talking about. No, I think he's right because I looked at this before. I think it's literally just about the 5v4 setup. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was just like that. I don't know.
Someone out there's banging the drum. Maybe it's Filipovich who's banging the drum that McKinnon's one of the worst 3-on-3 players in the league, and like every time he steps on the ice, Colorado loses, and then Team Canada uses him in 3-on-3 and they lose to gold medal game. Like, just, I mean, you really can't draw up a better season for me that doesn't involve me actually making money on these takes because McKinnon's going to win the Rocket by, 5 goals over McDavid, who I have a 20 to 1 bet on that DJ and I split beginning of the season. But anyway, that's a lot of talk about Nate McKinnon when, in fact, he's a great DFS play on this slate because if you like guys with 3-point outcomes and 8 shots on goal in the range of outcomes, Nate McKinnon is one of the guys here. I like game stacking this environment a whole hell of a lot, obviously. So is there anything other than McKinnon, Nachos, McCarr stuff that you would even consider to save some value on Colorado?
No, I think you got it right. I think just move on from it. Don't click in Devin Tays. He's fallen off a cliff. That's all I got. I don't know. Some people are still doing it. And I'm like, yeah, please. I don't think there's anything there.
They do.
Yeah.
Yep. I hope they continue to be punished for it. Anaheim is a very interesting situation right now due to the injuries to Granlund and Troy Terry. They've just oddly gone missing, and like Anaheim's making a playoff push, and we don't really know what the situation there is. So as long as those guys remain out, I mean, it is the Leo Carlsson show regardless. But like when Granlund's there, they try to make it the Granlund and Leo show for some reason. Troy Terry steps in to steal power play time when he can barely catch a pass anymore. So right now, Anaheim is pretty much optimized in my book. Top line, Kreider, Carlson, Gauthier. Top power play, Kreider, Carlson, Gauthier, Seneca, Lacombe. And these guys are playing all the minutes. The fantasy production is there in spades for all of them. Obviously, Chris Kreider is a bit of a different story, but he knows his job, and he plants his ass in front of that goalie better than almost anyone in the league. So I really like Anaheim here. Like I said, Colorado's been struggling. Like this game just statistically projects for tons of pace, tons of volume. And if Anaheim's losing, there's no world where Cody Gauthier isn't playing 20 plus minutes, assuming this lineup sticks. So I'm going to be a Duck slappy again. They serve me well, so no surprises there. But all aboard the Cutter Gauthier experience.
I'm just going to enable you. I got nothing to add. Just play him. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, Shams, I think Shams is right. Paling has grown in this coaching staff's eyes over McTavish. If that means Seneca's playing with McTavish or Paling instead, that's fine. Like, I don't think it really matters. I think you're just playing the top power play guys or nothing. Unless we see something where Paling's getting some power play time because he's been sneaky effective. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, fun game. Lots of fun players. Final game, also very fun. Montreal at San Jose. Montreal in practice today. Doc, Suzuki, Caulfield, Slafkovsky, Kapanen, and Demidov. Bolduc, Evans, Newhook stayed as the fourth line, so I would expect Bolduc and Newhook to have power play time over Kapanen, which definitely stinks. However, Kapanen's price continues to fall, 3,300 there. That second line is 13.5K. Lane Hudson, Noah Dobson remain a D pair. That feels a little bit like this Noah Dobson stuff is sustainable, where he's just been a flat out better fantasy defenseman than Lane Hudson for the last stretch of time. This is 10 games, but if you look at 20 games, 25, 30 games, it all pretty much looks the same, where Dobson's just been absolutely killing it and shooting a ton. So I don't know if that means I want to play him with, Suzuki, Caulfield, Doc, because at least Doc's on the power play too, or if you just go Slafkovsky, Kapanen, and Demidov and hope that Mathis and Gooley sort of get shutdown minutes with Caulfield and Suzuki, well, Suzuki specifically later on. I don't know, but a matchup with San Jose is never something to turn down. So any interest in Montreal here?
They were on the finals, so did quite a bit on this one. Like Dobson's price and what he's been doing. He's doing this not all year, for like the last half of the year here. I've been playing. If you look at my teams, like every other night I'm playing Dobson. He just he accumulates fantasy points. Whether you think he's good or not, he gets fantasy points. I would check how they line up how they do their D pairs. I swear I saw Matheson and Gooley were like gluing with the top line, which I despised a lot. But if they get Hudson and Dobson out with them, it opens up a lot more, I think. I don't check that though. I haven't checked since the finals though. Which I love when Dobson and Hudson are skating the top line, but when they're not, it becomes a little disjointed.
If you're watching the show, Quentin Byfield is a scratch for the Kings due to illness. So there you go. My God, it's going to be Kopitar night, and I'm actually playing Kopitar. Let's fucking go. Yeah, nothing else on Montreal here. Finally, San Jose. They flipped last game, Sherwood and Graf. So I have it as being Graf, Celebrini, Will Smith, Sherwood, Wenberg, Kurashev. But Eklund, Misa, Tyler Toffoli might be the belle of the ball here in my eyes. They are 12K. Michael Misa is seemingly blooming right in front of our eyes. You look at, I think it's the last 9 games, he's at like a 60% expected goals percentage. And we know that Eklund and Toffoli are good NHL players. And I love taking lines against Montreal depth. Now, Montreal is a bit better down the lineup than they have been in the past when I've said such statements. But I don't know. I don't think I'm letting that sway me too much because Misa is just, a second overall pick, all the sort of moods, fantasy gushiness in the world for prospects. And he's 3K. Eklund, we know he's good. And then Toffoli is very clearly a good, fantasy producer if this line is doing stuff. So that right away sort of gets you a cheap line to fit in some studs. I don't see myself getting the Macklin Will Smith here, in all honesty. It's just a lot of money to pay 15K when there's, Cutter, McKinnon, Tampa, Minnesota, Ottawa, Edmonton, like all of those spots to me are better. But I think this is one of my favorite depth spots on the night. And I wouldn't hate the idea of Sherwood, Wenberg, Kurashev either. I mean, that is 10.5K for, yes, some of the worst players you've ever watched play hockey, but they're averaging 26 expected fantasy points over the last 10. Like, Sherwood's going to shoot. Sherwood and Wenberg are going to be on the top power play. The top power play gets Orlov on it, so there's no more Klingberg shooting pucks into the corner. It's line 2 and 3 for San Jose is actually somewhat interesting to me here.
I just have to say Klingberg's like just put on this earth the last couple of years at least. I know he's good before that. It's just like I swear he's just put on here just to like do what you said, like just miss the net, just ruin the power play flow and just like take a bad shot. I'm with you though. Like I was gonna complain. We're pushing time here. I didn't want to go this long. I will save my Macklin complaints, but he's lost me 2 spins from those late hammers, and I don't know. At that 9,200, at least it's like a fair price. That's all I got. But that third line, I'm kind of with you. The third line's one that catch my eye.
I'm a convert. Macklin is the truth. He's awesome.
I've watched enough. I'm also like, I get it. Like, sure, I make the joke about the 42% expected goal for. I'm sure it's higher since I've looked. But once you watch, you kind of get it. Like, okay, I get it. Like, I'll admit a little bit of defeat, but.
And I just get to go all in on the Will Smith take.
That's fair. I'll give you that. Yeah, the Will Smith is stronger. Yeah, I like that.
That is 11 games here. Powered through. I mean, we spent a good amount of time on the Fantasy Aqua World Championship, so I don't think we did too bad here. Are you prepared for your top stacks of the night?
I forgot you guys did this. This is when I turn it off. So no is the answer.
You know what's funny is I guarantee that like 90% of people, if you said you only get, this or that, at least 90% of people go, well, I'm scrolling to the end to get the top stacks guaranteed goals and get out of here. Like I've had many people DM me like, what is your top stack guaranteed goal? Because like they just don't listen and they want to know. Like, so, and you're the person who's like,
really bad answer then.
Well, what's funny is then we're the shootout. We're in the shootout segment where for you it's like, I'm turning it off. I'm getting out of here before the game's decided. Which I do agree with.
That's a fair. How do you you start and then I'll follow, right? You get 2 stacks or what? I forget.
We do 2 stacks.
I'll make up something up here.
All right. Yeah. 2 of your favorite DFS stacks. I'm going to go back to the earliest game on the slate, Pittsburgh-Boston. I'm going to take Chinikov, Novak, and Malkin. The minutes that they are now playing with no Sid is much better than before. Malkin has been good all season, but it's mostly about Chinikov and Novak for me. They are a combined 7,300, and I think 25 points is very much doing the job there for that salary, and they certainly have upside for more.
I'll keep it simple. I already talked them up. I played them. They somehow got cheaper. I'm going to stick to the Ottawa 2, Brady Cousins, and then from there, I kind of liked your take, like. Brady Cousins, put Shabbat on, put Bathers in, something like that. You figure it out from there. Start with Brady Cousins and do something else. Yeah,
I dig it. All right. I will take. I just think this Colorado Anaheim game is the nuts, and so give me McKinnon, Nachos, and then throw Cutter on it, and just like a game stack of the alphas here. I know it's really expensive. It might require need to leave off like a Malkin or something to get it done. But considering the options here, I do feel like we might siphon some ownership to the other studs on the night. And the way that Anaheim's playing, I want to get a piece of this game for sure. So McKinnon, Nachos, Cutter, come lose me some money. And yeah, do you have a final stack here?
Go back to like just Calgary's so bad, even though that the 23-hour back-to-back does spook me a little bit, but the Dallas 1, throw on Bork, just something like that. Stick something like that would be fun. I'd go there. So, yeah. The
Matt lock of the night, Dallas -120 money line.
Well, they're gonna lose for sure. It's just like a lock. You're gonna get a message immediately when they're like losing 3-0 after the first.
All right. Before we do guaranteed goals. Question here from he sees my Discord insider trading, a game I just got on Steam. I think it's really cool. It's a rogue. I've been playing Balatro a bunch, and I kind of just like I want to see what else is out there. And you kind of it's a similar deal where you build a deck of stuff and you do whatever with it. It's to mimic the stock market. It's not really trading or whatever, but I found it to be really interesting so far. A lot of depth. So yeah. Anyway, it just came out like last week too, from what I saw. So
I'll check it out. I like the Balatro, or is that how you say it? Yeah, I like that one. So cool. Yeah. Take a good game recommendation.
Yeah. So guaranteed goals, we sum up to 11K in DK salary, just so we avoid taking.
I remember what the salaries were. I'll give you one and then give me a backfill or something.
Yep.
You want to go, or well, can I steal the? Oh no, you already took them. I can't because you did the guaranteed get, or you did the stacks. Let me think a second. I was gonna just take Cutter just to take him, but I'm feeling the Cutter love right now. But let's go. Actually, I take it back. We're gonna go Boldy. I'm gonna do a homer pick. Boldy's just Olympics, everything scorching hot. We'll go Boldy, and then we'll figure out from there. We got a lot of cheap guys, right?
We do. I do like that one. Oh God. So I want to go with the cheap guy as well, but I'm trying to sort out. You know what? Actually, I'll keep it in the mid range. I'm gonna go Cole Perfetti, 5,100. That way, we're sort of dealing in different pools of players.
All right. What do I have left? 4.3, 3.3. What was Boldy's price?
Yeah.
Sorry, my DraftKings isn't loaded as I try to type
3,300. Yep.
3,300. So what was there was some 3,300 punt out there.
Bjorkstrand.
No, never Bjorkstrand. I mean, I actually agree with your point. If he's not playing 10 minutes, he's playable. But I don't know. I never get him right. I can't honestly tell someone that.
3.
I'm looking. I found it. I got it up finally.
Right.
Oh God, I thought there was someone else down here. Did I make it up?
There's San Jose guys, Misa.
Oh, Misa. Let's go Misa. I like that line. I actually like your thought on that one. There we go.
All
Done.
Right. Yes, the Boldy Misa. Gosh, we're gonna have the best guaranteed goals. I'm never gonna let DJ come back to the show. For 5,900. Well, I mean, Leo Carlson's right there at 5,900.
Done. So, don't even overthink it. You're done.
I didn't even include him in my game stack, and the fates smiled upon me. So yeah, well, let's just do that. Carlson, Perfetti, Boldy, Misa, an absolute rocket ship of a slate breakdown here. Anything else you wanted to say or tout or whatever before we get out of here?
I got nothing. Find me in the Discord. I'm always hanging around, maybe not talking as much this year, but still lurking every once in a while. I don't reply to everyone, but way it goes.
Life happens. When you have kids and whatnot. I can imagine your life does not revolve around dumb men. Here's DJ in the chat. Wow, the co-host got hot.
All right.
Boy. All right. I think this is where we call it.
I don't know. That just got weird.
Shout out to DJ. He did make the thumbnail for this episode, and it does have the background of the event venue, and I loved it. I thought the thumbnail was sick. So check it out if you just ignore thumbnails as a rule. That'll do it from us. Thank you all for listening. Please do subscribe to my newsletter, moods.beehive.com. On Friday, I posted a Friday slate breakdown, and in it, at the very end, I sort of mentioned hey, if you've wanted to support us and either you've asked us or whatever, you haven't asked and you want to, I'm going to start putting a charity or some sort of way to give back at the end. That's, not just funneling money to me to give to Sissima, because I don't want to do that. But I found one of the ladies I follow on Instagram who runs a cat rescue in my area. She had just posted looking for pledges for a cat with broken legs that was going to be euthanized by the city. She adopted it and funded its surgery thanks to people, pledging money. And I know some people in the Discord and readers did that as well. So I just wanted to say thank you to anyone who read it, considered donating, and obviously who did donate. She actually had enough money left over that she was able to save another cat from euthanasia of a similar injury. So I've been following her on Instagram and whatnot. So really cool stuff. I want to have as big an impact as I can without, forcing you to pay money to read my work. But if you have been looking for a way to give back, checking out my newsletter, at the end of them, I have at least several more ideas to go through for the next little bit to just sort of drop in there and say, hey, if you've wanted to give back, that's a good way to do so. And it'll be more than just cats, I get it. But there'll be things in, the Buffalo area and for my hometown and, more general stuff as well that you can chip in on. So just wanted to mention that because, it was an idea I had. I wanted to do it, and to see it work so well right away was very, very nice. All right, now that'll do it. I'm at Fake Moods. What is your Twitter? I tried to tag you.
SDCA.
That's right.
CPA. I was like 13
SDCPA.
years old. Yeah, San Diego, California CPA. I don't know. It was a weird one.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's a really old account.
Anyway, I just go on the Discord if you want to get a hold of Matt. Yeah. But thank you for stepping in and doing this with us. So that will do it. From Doug, from DJ, from Matt, and from myself, have a good Tuesday slate, everybody, and we will
You're saying they're looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.